continue to advocate and preach non-violence, but be assertive. Turn up and vote. Make this be a protest vote. I thank you, and I don't know if I have to speak this in Luganda. Okay. I was about to ask Honorable Amuria to translate for me in Luganda. Mwebale nnyo basebo ne banyabo. Njagala okussa ekitiibwa mu Honorable Amuriat, Honorable General Muntu, Dr. Besigye ne bakulembeze bannange. Mu dakiika ntono nnyo kanfunze bino mu Luganda tusobole okuvaawo wano. Okugoberera nga muze mulaba obumenyi bw'amateeka n'effujjo erikolebwa nga likolebwa ku biragiro bya President Museveni ne gavumenti ye, okutta abantu, okuwamba abantu, okusiba abantu, balumba abantu baffe ne babakwata. Ekiro ekyakeeseza olwaleero balumbye mukulembeze munnaffe Lule David Bwanika gwemanyi nga Selector David, ne bamenya ennyumba ye ne bamutwala ab'amagye tetumanyi gyali. Amakya ga leero balumbye amaka gange ne batwala abakozi bange babiri ne omusirikale wange akume waka ne bamukuba bubi nnyo, tebatubulidde ensonga. Olunaku lwajjo amagye galumbye abamu ku baana betukola nabo, omulenzi abadde ng'avuga emu ku motoka zaffe era makanika waffe ne bamukuba amasasi gwe bayita akaterega, era omuyakya ga leero afudde. Bino byonna bibaddewo nga akakiiko k'ebyokulonda tekalina kyekoogera wabula okwegatta kw'abo abamenyi b'amateeka, era nga bwe mumanyi nange kannemesa okukola kampeyini ne guno gwaka. Bino tumanyi nti badde babikola kumalamu bantu b'amaanyi na balemesa kugenda kulonda. Obubaka bwe twagala obbawa mu bufunze kwe kubasaba mwenna bannayuganda muveeyo mu bungi mulonde. Tubasaba muveeyo mulonde, kati yemmwe ansa. Tusobodde okukola kye tusobodde okukola, naye ffe ng'abakulembeze tuli baweereza bammwe, yemmwe babboosi. Guno omulundi tubasaba muveeyo mu bungi bassebo ne bannyabo mulonde. Ensonga ey'okubiri, bwe mumala okulonda musigalewo mukume akalulu kammwe. Mujje nga mwambadde face mask, bwe mumala okulonda mukumewo, mutekewo amabanga, mukume social distance. Tekina teeka, temulina tteeka lye mujja kubanga mumenye okuuma akalulu kammwe. Tubasaba mukozese kamera zammwe, mukozese essimu zammwe. Tumanyi nti gavumenti ya Mwami Museveni eteekateeka kujjako intaneti, kujjako network n'ebirala. Naye tubasaba mukozese amasimu gammwe, mukozese kamera zammwe. Naddala awo we balangira ebivudde mu kulonda, mufirimingeewo nnyo, tujja kwetaaga evidence eyo, era tujja bategeeza enamba ko mujja okusindika obwo bu video nga balangirira ebivudde mu kulonda. Tulina app gye twakola, tujja kuba tugibanyonyolako gye bujja. Naye tubasaba abasebo ne bannyabo muveeyo mu bungi mulonde, ate mukuume akalulu kammwe. Kyasanyu nti akakiiko k'ebyokulonda wadde kasooka kugaana abantu kozesa kamera, naye nako kalabye nti kya buswavu ate kya bumenyi bw'amateeka, era ne kavaayo ne kalangirira timuli baddembe okukozesa essimu zammwe ne kamera zammwe. Tubasaba mukozese essimu zammwe, mukozese kamera zammwe. Tuyina ba agents baffe abagenda okubeerayo okukuuma akalulu, naye nammwe tubasaba bannayuganda mukyenyigiremu, temukitulekera. Amateeka gagamba nti akakiiko k'ebyokulonda kalina okuteekawo declaration form oba form eraga ebivudde mu kulonda ku buli polling station. Tubasaba eyo form mugitunuulire, mugikube ebifaananyi era mubisindike ku eyo app gye bayita YouVote, tusobole okuba nga tukuŋŋaanya mu buli kitundu ebivudde mu kulonda. Nga maliriza njagala okusindika obubaka eri akakiiko k'ebyokulonda eri mwambi abakama ne bakola nabo. Mumanyi okubba obululu gye kwatuusaako ensi yaffe emyaka gy'ekinaana, n'olw'ensonga eyo tukutuusaako okulabula ssebo n'akakiiko konna nti obulamu bw'abannayuganda miliyoni 45 musasire, obulamu bw'abannayuganda miliyoni 45 buli ku bibegabega byo, era omulimu gw'olina toliwaawo nga bosi waliwo, wabula oliwo ng'omuweereza wa Uganda. Kikakatako okola ekituufu oleme kwejjusa n'abaana n'abazzukulu bo baleme kwejjusa ku lwa Uganda. Maliriza nga nsindika obubaka eri baganda baffe mwenna abali mu bitongole ebikuumaddembe, amagye ne poliisi. Kibakakatako okujjukira nti bano bannakyemalira, bo bakozesa abasirikale ate abavubuka abato, naye bwe baba bagenda baleka abo abavubuka abato abali mu magye ne poliisi nga balina okuddamu olw'ebikolobero bye bakoze ku bannayuganda oba ku bantu b'ensi ezo. So mbalabula nammwe nti mulina obulamu obw'omumaaso buwanvu nnyo, tubasaba mubukozese, muwe bannayuganda n'eddembe lyabwe ekitiibwa, musobole okweyagalira mulimu gwammwe. Mwebale nnyo bassebo ne bannyabo okutuwuliriza ku lwa Katonda n'ensi yange.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi. We have our elder here and one of the devotional leaders, Dr. Kiza Besigye. We invite him to make a statement. Dr. Besigye, you are welcome.
Yeah, very good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media, our esteemed presidential candidates united and seated before us. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess I was invited maybe so that you recognize that I was here, because as you know, this is really, they are the message for this morning. And I think the message has been delivered in its fullest measure. Let me use the opportunity given to me, first of all, to really congratulate these brave gentlemen that have, over the last 60 days, done everything humanly possible to reach out to all the people of our country. First of all, the campaign time was incredibly short. Uganda is divided into 146 districts. Those are the local governments. So they had 60 days to traverse 146 local governments. 351, I think, electoral constituencies in 60 days. Funny enough, those who are campaigning in one parish to become councillors of a parish have about 6 months to campaign. Those to campaign in over 60,000 parishes have only 60 days. And this is by design. As you know, the law and our constitution provides that this electoral process, especially the presidential electoral process, lasts more than a year. And a year before campaigns, any aspirant to become a presidential candidate has freedom to consult widely in the country so that that candidate can make up his or her mind as to whether to become a candidate, and indeed, if one decides to become a candidate, to be fully seized of the situation in the country that he or she wants to offer leadership for, and indeed to be able to construct the relevant policies on which to campaign. None of these gentlemen had that opportunity, and this was not about COVID. This was well before COVID came. That right that they have to consult within the country about their candidature was never allowed. They indeed sought the Electoral Commission's intervention to make sure that they consult The Electoral Commission said, yes, you go and consult, but they never left their homes. Especially the Honorable Kyagulanyi tried, I think on a number of occasions, totally unsuccessful. It would end up in pain. And all of them are becoming candidates for the first time, which would make it absolutely necessary for that consultation to have taken place. It wasn't. And so I really want to congratulate them that in spite of the untold obstacles, unbelievable obstacles that have been erected along their paths of expressing their readiness to offer leadership, they have weathered all those storms up to the end of this campaign. The terror that has been meted out on these candidates is frankly unprecedented. I have been a candidate 4 times. And, well, I have seen many moments of deja vu, you know, where I have been before. But there were also moments that I hadn't experienced in the previous election. So the violence, terror, it seems to be scaled up every coming election. And that is, I believe, not surprising, because the lower the support of the regime goes, the more they replace it with repression and violence. So this election has witnessed untold violence. This was not about COVID. Make no mistake about this, because the regime is not worried about COVID at all, actually. If you go downtown and see how people are gathered in markets and in all kinds of crowds that are milling around town, uninterfered with and regulated, you'll know that this is not about COVID. Indeed, even during this very campaign, the crowds of those associated with the regime were never interfered with. It was only an attempt to stopping these gentlemen to get and the other candidates who are not here to get to the voters and to pass on their message. So really, I congratulate all of you upon this, heroic exercise that you are emerging through. We've seen in this particular election a presidential candidate having to campaign putting on a flak jacket, you know, and helmets. If Mr. Museveni stays in office by the next election, one of the prerequisites to be a presidential candidate will be to certainly procure some kind of an armored trucks from which you can pull out your head in a bulletproof helmet to be able to say anything. It gets worse and worse by the day. So really, I congratulate all of you, and I wouldn't like to certainly water down the message that has already been effectively delivered about the need for this togetherness. The need for this togetherness to fight for people's will to be respected. That is what this is about. And don't forget, Ugandans, that Mr. Museveni must win 50% of the vote plus 1 to be declared a winner. In other words, more than half of all valid votes cast must be in the name of Mr. Museveni for him to be declared a winner. So it doesn't matter whom you vote for, provided you guard the vote so that Mr. Museveni does not have 50% of voters casting a vote in his favor. He will be out of office. And if he wants to stick, that is also what our togetherness is here for, to make sure that any unconstitutional extension of his mandate is stopped. We must do everything within our power to stop any unconstitutional extension of his office. So some people sometimes tend to get discouraged when they see the forces of change not presenting one person, but that is not the most critical thing, because it is the other one who must win 50%. And so regardless of these, and that's the wonderful thing about togetherness, because if Mr. Museveni failed to win 50%, it means immediately all these would rally behind whoever has the highest vote and into a second round of voting. So everybody should really cast their vote, protect it to the extent possible. And I told you that part of what has concerned me in this campaign is on that side of how we can protect these things and see that our constitution is respected. So thank you very much. Niliombwa labda ni jaribu kueleza kwa ufupi ujumbe wa leo. Kwanza, sina utaalamu wa kutosha kuzungumza Kiswahili. Hapa nchini kwetu Uganda hakuna mtu yeyote ambaye anafundishwa kuongea Kiswahili. Tunajifundisha sisi wenyewe. Wagombea urais hawa watatu, mmoja ni mgombea wa urais kutoka chama cha Forum for Democratic Change FDC, Mheshimiwa Patrick Oboy Amuriat. Mgombea wa pili hapa ni Jamadari Gregory Mugisha Muntu, ambaye ni mgombea wa chama cha Alliance for National Transformation ANT, na mgombea wa tatu ni Mheshimiwa Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, ambaye anaongoza chama cha National na wamekuja pamoja hapa hasa kwa kutoa ujumbe unapoanguka kwa sehemu tatu. Sehemu ya kwanza ni kuonyesha umoja wao, kwamba wamekubaliana, ati ingawa wote ni wagombea, wamekubaliana kushikana mkononi na kuona kwamba kwanza wanatoa mwito kwa wananchi wote wawe tayari kupiga kura na kutoka nyumbani siku ya 14 mwezi huu, na ndiyo siku ya Alhamisi wiki hii, Thursday, kwamba kila mmoja awajibika, aonyeshe uwajibu wake kuona kwamba anaenda kupiga kura. Hiyo ndiyo muhimu sana wa kwanza. Huwezi kusema unataka mabadiliko bila kujitolea kuonyesha kwamba unataka mabadiliko. Kwa hivyo basi, kila mmoja ambaye hasa nataka mabadiliko nchini mwetu awajibike kuona kwamba siku ya Alhamisi anaenda mahali anapigia kura na kupiga kura yake. Na tunajua vile wametangaza kwa urefu hatua zinazochukuliwa na serikali kutesha watu na kuona kwamba watu hawaende kuhudhuria. Mwito wa candidates wetu ni kwamba hayo ni majaribio ya kuona kwamba msipoende kupiga kura wanapata ushindi. Kwa hivyo hakikisha kwamba kila moja unaenda kupiga kura yake. Ujumbe wa pili ni kwamba vile kutokana na historia yetu kura zinaibwa. Watu wamekuwa wanapiga kura wakati wa uchaguzi wote, watu wanapiga kura, lakini kura zao hazifaidiki. Na tofauti na uchaguzi wa nyuma, tunataka kila mmoja aweke bidii iwezekanavyo kuona kwamba hakuna mwenye ataiba kura hii. Hivyo basi, kisha piga kura yako, hakikisha kwamba unabakia pale pale. Sheria na kuruhusu kupiga kura na kubakia. Tume la uchaguzi la hakimu ya mahakama ambazo ziko kinyume cha sheria, kwamba huruhusiwe kubaki kituo cha kupiga kura. Hiyo ni kinyume cha sheria kabisa. Sheria inaruhusu mpiga kura yeyote kupiga kura na kubakia pale pale, ila tu hakikisha kwamba unafanya matakio ya afya. Na matakio ya afya ni mawili makubwa. Kwanza, weka maski yako. Ukienda kwa kupiga kura, hakikisha umevaa maski yako, enda nayo. Pili, peana nafasi hasa isiyo chini ya mita 2. Peana nafasi. Hizo ndizo matakwa ya afya. Kishatimiza matakwa hayo, unakubalika kukaa kwa kituo cha piga kura. So, piga kura, hakikisha hakuna mtu ananyang'anya kura yetu. Vote, protect your vote. Ndiyo message hasa muhimu sana iliyotoka kwa candidates hawa watatu, na wamefanya mpango maalum wa kuona kwamba wanafanya pamoja shughuli zote za kuimarisha ulinzi wa kura. Wameweka kamati ya kufanya pamoja na kufanya shughuli zile zote za kuimarisha kura zetu. Kwa hivyo kila mwananchi vile afanye anavyotakiwa. Asante sana. Uganda was already given. Uganda was.
Okay, asante sana Baba Mheshimiwa Daktari Kizza Besigye. Okay, I don't know if there's any questions. We can take 2 or so questions. Is there any question from the media? Okay, Derek has a question. We request that the questions really stick to the subject matter for today. Yes, Derek.
One question. We've had opposition candidates make mention during their campaigns saying that they are aware that the vote has already been rigged. And here you are calling upon Ugandans to come in large numbers to protect the vote, but also vote. My question is, what's the plan after the vote in case it doesn't come your way?
Okay. Yes, sir.
So this regime has often been accused of staying in power by dividing.
What's your name, sir?
It's Adrian Carlton with NPR. So this regime has stayed in power by dividing and ruling. And as all of you alluded to, you're calling for Ugandans to protect their vote. And you're sending them to do a very dangerous thing. Why should they do that, considering that you all haven't been able to unite among yourselves in one party?
Okay. Is there any other? We deal with these two. Okay. The first one, I can say 1 or 2 things. Since it's of a technical nature, then I'll leave the harder political ones to, yeah. Honorable Muriat, thank you. Honorable Muriat has to run because he's going to finish with the campaigns, I think in Eastern Uganda. Yeah, thank you for coming, sir. We appreciate you, sir. So the direct question about what's the plan. Yes, sir.
Sorry for interruption. We request for group photo. The 3 candidates, he is leaving now. If he can.
So you're taking over my press conference now?
I'm requesting.
Well, if it pleases them, why not? So the ones with shoes are on the sides, and then the barefooted ones in the middle. It's okay. I'm taking it. Because of COVID-19, but okay, yeah.